Hello and welcome to Quality Discourse. I'm Hoffel.
And I'm Shady Tradesman.
This is Shady Tradesman. So, today we're going to be talking about The Witcher 2. Why?
Witcher 2 came out about a year ago, released by CD Projekt for the PC. It's since been patched over and over and over again, and it's about to get ported to the Xbox 360, or I should say they've been working on the port for a while. So it's becoming relevant again.
Oh, okay. So, you said it got patched. Was it broken? Was it a bad game when it came out?
Well, the combat was a little bit sticky, and there were some issues with difficulty for a lot of people, because you could get knocked on the ground, and there were targeting issues, but those since all been patched away.
Okay, did that make the game easier?
It did make the game a little bit easier, but they also added 2 new difficulty modes, and on top of that, a bunch of new gear and stuff.
Okay.
So they have been expanding it, all for free, of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what's the game like in general? Obviously, there's combat and gear.
And also dialogue. It plays sort of like a BioWare RPG in terms of you're going to be talking to people, and you're going to be walking around fighting stuff.
Okay, that sounds cool. What's the combat like? Like, I mean, in a BioWare RPG, you're walking around with a party, typically using powers.
No party in this game, not formally at least. You know, some people will follow you from time to time.
You aren't in command of them.
No, it is not.
Okay.
It's not really turn-based like Dragon Age or KOTOR, and it's not a first-person shooter. Instead, it's a hack-and-slash RPG. So, sort of almost more similar to like Ninja Gaiden or Zelda, I guess, in terms of your killing stuff.
Man, that's a wide range of possibilities.
Okay, well,
from Ninja Gaiden to Zelda.
You know, you're getting items, you're pressing a button to swing a sword. Kind of got an arcadey feel to it.
Okay. But what makes the combat different?
Well, you can choose to expand your character in one of 3 ways, but also what kind of makes it deep, I think, is that it's very challenging. And so in order to actually beat the game in some cases, you're going to need to use all of the things at your disposal, whether you specialize in them or not. So it kind of meshes the whole thing together.
Yeah, because I've seen a little bit of it, and you've got like magic, you've got alchemy, and you've got sword fighting itself, so you have to use all of those?
Yes, sword fighting, you can make grenades, craft throwing knives and stuff to throw, traps. You can use all of those together.
So there's a crafting system.
There is a crafting system, and that's a little bit too complicated, I think, for what the game does. The inventory system is really expansive and kind of feels bloated at times, considering you only change out your equipment a few times during the game, but the inventory system is giant.
That's a little silly.
Yeah, it's not game breaking at all, but it can be a little complicated.
So how's the game look?
Beautiful. So good. Are you kidding me?
I guess. Yeah, no, I'm looking at this right now. It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's really a resource hog, though. So on my computer can play Skyrim on ultra settings. 60 frames per second. Everything's great. Put in The Witcher 2, and it auto detects me down to like medium low settings and runs it at 30. But on the computers that can take it, and even on my computer, it looks fantastic.
So it scales well.
It scales well, and we've also, the combat is really dynamic looking and active. You can see some footage of it here.
Even on lower settings?
Even on lower settings, all the animations are the same. You might have a little blurrier textures, but you'll be fine.
Right. What about sounds?
Well, the sounds of the game are very good, I'd say, on the whole. It does have that issue with video games where you'll like walk by an NPC and they'll repeat a line out loud multiple times. Like,
is it as bad as Skyrim?
It can be at times, but not quite as prevalent. There's not as many NPCs you're walking by you're spouting out lines again.
Okay.
The soundtrack is great. There's a mix of kind of like haunting Eastern European, Middle Eastern style tracks going on, mixed with some kind of rock and metal. It gives it sort of a Nightwishy feel, symphonic metal-y, from time to time. Yeah.
Okay. So, what about the story? Like, that's the big selling point for RPGs.
Okay, so the story is really kind of incredible and exceptional in this game. It's not so cut and dry. It's not very good versus evil. It's not versus one person versus another person. It's got lots of different factions, all working with their own motivations, all working with their own secrets. And it's going to be a lot of effort and really exciting to start uncovering those as the game progresses for you.
Your Grace, forgive me. But the laws of succession are irrefutably clear.
Piss on the laws. I'll change them if need be.
So it's really all moral shades of gray, choosing the lesser of two
That's
evils.
awesome. So it steps away from like the BioWare, like, oh, you're Paragon or Renegade.
Oh yeah, that's totally gone. There's no light side, dark side. It's all completely organic. You just choose what you want to say, and over the course of the game, you're going to start feeling like you made mistakes, like you should have chosen something else. And it's really, it's kind of compelling in that way. I
And it's
think.
like living with your mistakes.
Yeah.
So since you compared it to a BioWare RPG, I assume there are choices you can make.
Oh yeah, and some of the choices are actually really, really significant. Like there's a few that will change the course of the game, and not just like the way NPCs are referred to, who's alive, who's dead, but where you go, who you meet. There's 3 acts in the game, and the second 2, there's 2 variations on each of them entirely.
What?
Yeah, so there's totally new areas, totally different quests depending on what you chose in the first half.
I mean, I could see a difference for like a middle one maybe, and it comes together at the end, but you're telling me that the 2 acts are just completely different.
Well, they do come down to the same location at the end, but they have totally different quests. So
So does it end up with the same ending essentially? Is it another red, green, blue?
well, it's sort of interesting because you do choose sort of the ending, but over the course of the game, you'll get different information depending on your choices, and it requires multiple playthroughs to really get an idea of everything that's going on at once.
So it's a matter of kind of figuring out the conspiracy
Yeah,
more than and making the right choice based on that.
depending on how you want to play the character, depending on what you want to do. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Dang. All right, crazy. So buy or not?
Well, I'd say it's a great game. It's really well made. If you're not the kind of person that's going to put a little bit of effort into trying to figure out what's going on, you want kind of a clearer, simpler story, you might want to steer away from it. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't really like challenging games, you also might want to steer away from it, although you could turn down the difficulty. I'd say, though, for a hardcore gamer who wants to put a little bit into a game and get a lot out of a game, it's a great choice.
Excellent. This is Quality Discourse. I'm Hoffel,
I'm Shady.
and we're out.